They said he was just another overhyped black player with too much spring in his legs and not enough substance in his game. Coaches, critics, even some teammates laughed at the notion that this kid could ever lead a team to glory. Sure, he could jump, he could score, he could put on a show, but wait until the pressure gets real, they whispered. He'll crack. He'll showboat and fall apart when it matters. To them, he was all flash, no future, a streetball legend destined to be undone by the discipline and teamwork of the established greats. They had seen his kind before, they thought. They were wrong. But what none of them understood was the fire burning inside the young man they dismissed. A fire stoked by slights and fueled by a lifetime of being underestimated. He was about to prove something that should never have needed proving. Not by talking. Not by complaining. By doing the one thing no one could ignore, by becoming the greatest basketball player of all time. This is the story of how Michael Jordan, the kid they once laughed at, became the athlete none of them could ever forget. But to understand how it happened, to understand the rage and the relentless behind his greatness, you have to go back to where the spark was first lit. February 17, 1963. Brooklyn, New York. Michael Jeffrey Jordan is born into a world that isn't ready for him. His parents, James and Dolores, hold their newborn in a hospital not far from streets where the fight for civil rights rages. Not long after, the Jordans move back south to their roots to Wilmington, North Carolina, a port city with its own troubled racial history. Decades earlier, Wilmington had seen violence and upheaval over black citizens' rights, and although times have changed by the late 1960s, the ghosts of segregation still linger. In Michael's early years, the South is in the uneasy aftermath of the civil rights movement. Old attitudes don't die easily, and the pain of the past still simmers under the surface. Wilmington in the late 60s is a place where opportunities for a young black boy can feel limited, where a child like Michael might be expected to follow a humble path. But Michael's parents have other ideas for their children. They teach him that he can be anything he wants if he's willing to work for it. His father is a proud man who served in the Air Force and now works as a mechanic at a General Electric plant. His mother, Dolores, is a bank teller who demands excellence from her children. Michael is the fourth of 5 kids in a boisterous household. He has 2 older brothers, James Juder and Larry, an older sister, Dolores, and a younger sister, Rosalind, and from early on, his parents instill in all of them the values of hard work and respect. They raise their children with love and iron discipline. Michael attends a mostly white high school, but lives in a predominantly black part of town, straddling 2 worlds. Racial divides linger beneath the surface. As a boy, Michael experiences prejudice up close. He befriends a white classmate named Dave, and together they wander into parts of town where a black child alone might be unwelcome. One summer day, they go to a neighborhood pool. Michael slips into the cool water, and slowly, every white kid in the pool climbs out, one by one. The message is unmistakable. Michael feels his face burn with shame and anger. He leaves with his friend, vowing to himself that one day he'll never be chased out of anywhere again. By adolescence, that quiet boy has grown into a wiry teenager with an irrepressible competitive streak. He can't stand losing at anything, not jacks, not board games, not backyard baseball, against his older brother Larry. Especially not against Larry. The 2 boys battle daily on a makeshift court their father built in the yard. Larry is shorter but older and craftier, and for years he beats Michael in one-on-one games. Michael's defeats usually end in shouting matches or in tears, but each loss leaves a scar that hardens into resolve. He will work and work until the outcome changes. Each time, he comes back a little better, jumps a little higher, plays a little smarter. The backyard duels with Larry become the first forge of his competitive fury. That fury only grows when he faces outright racism in school. In the fall of 1977, at age 14, Michael is a freshman at Laney High. One day, a white girl calls him the ugliest word he's ever heard, a racial slur, right in front of him. Michael's blood surges. He reacts without thinking, grabbing a soda and throwing it at her in a rage. It earns him a suspension from school, and at home his mother demands to know what he was thinking. Michael can only seethe. He tells her and his father through gritted teeth that he's sick of how white people treat black people, that he hates them for the way they look down on him. It's a shocking admission for a boy his age. He's basically confessing to his parents that anger is consuming him. Sensing the darkness forming in her son, Dolores doesn't scold him further. Instead, she calmly tells Michael that hate will only hurt him, not anyone else. If he wants to make people respect him, he'll have to channel that anger into something constructive. So Michael turns back to the only arena where he has ever felt in controlled sports. He plays football, baseball, basketball, anything to feed his need to compete. In truth, baseball is his first love. His father taught him to throw and catch in the yard, but by high school, the siren call of basketball has overtaken him. On the asphalt court or under the school gym's rim, he discovers a truth. When he's soaring toward a basket or knocking down a jump shot, nobody can call him inferior. Nobody can tell him he doesn't belong. He can outrun, outjump, and outplay anyone, black or white, and in those moments, he's free. By the time he reaches 10th grade, basketball has become his obsession and his refuge, a place where all the frustrations of growing up black in the South can be poured into pure effort and skill. Fall 1978. Laney High School Gymnasium. Michael is 15 years old, trying out for the varsity basketball team. He's confident, maybe too confident. All summer he's been polishing his jump shot, running drills in the driveway until dusk. He's grown to about 5'10", quick and springy, but still gangly and nowhere near his full height. When the coach posts the list of players who made varsity, Michael's heart is pounding as he pushes through the crowd to see. His eyes scan the names once, twice. He blinks, thinking maybe he missed it. But no, his name isn't there. For a moment, he can't breathe. He thought he was easily good enough. The realization sets in like a gut punch. He's been cut. 15 roster spots, and he isn't one of them. He sees his friend Leroy Smith's name on the list. The sting worsens, knowing Leroy made it while he did not. As other kids drift away, a few of them casting glances at Michael and whispering, his face burns with embarrassment. Michael swallows hard, holding back tears as he slips out of the gym and rushes home. He makes it to his house, into his bedroom, and shuts the door just before the first sob breaks free. The moment the door closes, he breaks down and cries, deep-racking sobs that he is determined no one will ever witness. He cries for a long time. It feels like hours. How could they cut him? The humiliation feels like a hot coal in his chest. But when the tears finally dry, that coal is still there. Now it's igniting into something else. He stares hard at himself in the mirror, eyes red and jaw clenched, and makes a silent vow. No coach will ever overlook him again. If there's a list of players next year, his name will be at the top, or he'll die trying. The very next day, Michael is back out on the court. At dawn, at dusk, whenever he can. Neighbors sometimes hear the rhythmic thump of his dribbling in the driveway and the clank of the ball on the rim long after sunset. He runs wind sprints until his legs ache and the cool night air bites at his lungs. He shoots hundreds of jumpers until his shoulders burn, the ball bouncing off the wooden backboard and echoing into the Carolina night. Whenever he feels like resting, he pictures that list without his name on it, the paper taunting him from the gym wall, and he keeps going. Each shot he makes, each drill he pushes through, he imagines is proving a point to every coach who doubted him. Through that winter of 1978-79, Michael channels all his anger into dominating Lenny's junior varsity team. If they won't let him play varsity, he'll make the JV games impossible to ignore. He attacks every opponent, scoring in bunches, 25, 30, 40 points a night. Pretty soon, word around Wilmington is that the real show isn't the varsity games, it's the JV, because some kid named Jordan is torching everybody. The crowds for JV games swell, and people come just to watch this sophomore phenomenon fly up and down the court. Its small consolation, JV glory, isn't what he wants, but it steals his resolve. The summer leading into his junior year, his body begins to change as if willed by sheer determination. In 1979, he grows about 4 inches taller and works out constantly. By the next fall, he's around 6'3", and countless hours of practice have honed his skills. When tryouts come that year, The coaches at Laney High don't make the same mistake twice. Michael not only makes the varsity team, he's instantly the star. As a junior, he explodes for more than 20 points per game, leaping, hanging, and slashing to the hoop with a fury that defenders can't contain. He's no longer the kid crying on the other side of a closed door. He's a new creature entirely. By senior year, he's practically unstoppable, averaging a triple-double, leading Laney to a 19-4 record, and becoming one of the best high school players in North Carolina. He caps off his high school career in style as a McDonald's All-American. The kid who once got cut has transformed himself into a sought-after blue chip prospect. He had turned one of the most devastating moments of his young life into fuel, and it has carried him all the way to the brink of a dream. Michael remembers every bit of it. He remembered every slight, every person who doubted him, and he silently vowed to prove each one wrong. In later years, he'd even admit to sometimes inventing imaginary insults from opponents just to give himself an extra edge. That's how fierce his internal fire burned. Now, college recruiters from across the country court him, but he stays close to home, accepting a scholarship to the University of North Carolina. In the fall of 1981, he arrives in Chapel Hill as a raw teenager with a famous competitive reputation. At UNC, he finds himself surrounded by other future stars, upperclassmen like James Worthy and Sam Perkins, and coached by the legendary Dean Smith. Here, under Dean Smith's discipline system, Michael's obsession with improvement kicks into overdrive. Coach Smith's philosophy is team. First, he doesn't usually hand the reins to underclassmen, but Michael is determined to earn his trust. He is relentless in practice, often the first to arrive at Carmichael Auditorium's court. Sometimes before the sun rises, where the only sounds are his sneakers squeaking on the hardwood and the echo of the ball as he polishes his jump shot. He's usually the last to leave too, drenched in sweat while the arena staff turns off the lights. Every scrimmage is a war to him. Teammates quickly learn that Mike, as they call him then, has one gear full throttle. In pickup games or wind sprints, it doesn't matter, he hates to lose, and he never lets up. One teammate later jokes that he was better than Michael for about 2 weeks, and then Michael elevated to a different level. Day by day, that chip on Michael's shoulder, the memory of being passed over and disrespected, drives him to refine his game beyond what anyone thought a freshman could do. That inner fire earns him the trust of Coach Smith, who rarely puts the weight of big moments on a first-year player. But as the 1982 NCAA championship game approaches, Michael has proved himself again and again with his clutch play and composure. North Carolina marches through the tournament, and the freshman from Wilmington has played a key role. March 29, 1982, New Orleans, Louisiana. Under the blinding lights and deafening noise of the Superdome, 19-year-old Michael faces the biggest test of his young life. The national title is on the line. The Tar Heels of UNC are locked in a tight battle with the Georgetown Hoyas, led by a towering freshman center named Patrick Ewing. It's a slugfest of a game, defensive and tense. In the final minute, UNC is down by 1 point. During a timeout, Coach Smith draws up a play. The ball is supposed to go inside to James Worthy, the veteran star, but Georgetown covers Worthy well, and the play suddenly swings to the 19-year-old in the corner. Michael catches the pass in the left corner, about 16 feet from the hoop. In that instant, all his countless hours of practice distill into muscle memory. He rises for the jump shot, shoulders square, releasing the ball at the apex of his leap. A Georgetown defender leaps at him with an outstretched arm. But the freshman is unfazed. His follow through is textbook, the ball arsing high against the bright arena lights. For a split second, the world seems to hold its breath as the ball descends. Then it splashes through the net with a perfect swish. The basket is good. UNC takes the lead with 17 seconds left. Michael's face erupts in joy as the arena roars. Seconds later, the Tar Heels secure a narrow victory and the national championship. In the locker room after the game, the players mob the jubilant freshman whose clutch shot won the title. That night, the world learns his name. Michael Jordan, not Mike, as he'd been called before, but Michael Jordan, the young man with ice in his veins on the biggest stage. Years later, he would look back on that jumper as the moment the legend of Michael Jordan was truly born. In his own words, hitting that shot turned him from a college kid who might be great into someone who believed he would be. It was a pivot point the moment a kid named Mike fully became Michael Jordan. From that day on, his confidence swelled. He had proven to himself he could deliver when it mattered most. It was the first true glimpse of the greatness to come. Returning to campus as a national champion, Michael carries himself differently. There's a new confidence in his eyes, a sense of destiny forming around him. He plays 2 more seasons at UNC, becoming a first-team All-American and the best collegiate player in the country. But even as he racks up collegiate awards, he has already tasted something far more intoxicating, clutch glory on a national stage. He wants more of it. The pull of greater challenges and greater prizes is irresistible. In 1984, after his junior year, Michael decides it's time to take the next leap. He declares for the NBA draft. It's bittersweet leaving Dean Smith's guidance and the college life he's known. But the basketball world is waiting. Everyone remembers that fearless kid who hit the shot in New Orleans. Now they're anxious to see what he can do against the best players in the world. Michael is selected 3rd overall in the 1984 NBA draft by the Chicago Bulls. When he arrives in Chicago, the franchise is struggling and in desperate need of a savior. They soon find out the rookie is more than just hype from his very first professional game. Michael is a revelation. He's faster, jumps higher, and plays harder than almost anyone in the league. Crowds double just to watch his gravity, defying drives and mid-air acrobatics. By the end of his first season, he's Rookie of the Year and an all-star. Chicago fans, who had been apathetic about the struggling Bulls, suddenly packed the arena to witness the Jordan show. The franchise that had languished now has electricity pulsing through it. The Bulls finally have a superstar. The NBA, still dominated by the flashy, Showtime, Lakers and the blue-collar Boston Celtics, welcomes this new high flyer with open arms. He's a marketing dream, a walking highlight reel. They start calling him Air Jordan, as he defies gravity on a nightly basis, even taking off from the foul line to win slam dunk contests, leaving audiences gasping at his feats. Nike designs an entire signature sneaker line around him, the Air Jordan shoes, which soon become a cultural phenomenon of their own. By the late 80s, his likeness is everywhere. He's on magazine covers and TV commercials. Be Like Mike, a catchy jingle from a Gatorade ad, becomes the anthem of every kid on the playground. He's selling out arenas on the road as fans come just to get a glimpse of his next breathtaking dunk. But with fame comes scrutiny. Not everyone is sold on this young phenom. The league's established guard, led by champions like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, have their doubts. Sure, the kid can score, they say, but can he win? Basketball purists note that Jordan's Bulls, despite his individual brilliance, aren't contending for titles yet. He drops 40, 50, even 63 points in a playoff game, a record-shattering performance against Larry Bird's Celtics in 1986 that made Bird marvel it was God disguised as Michael Jordan. But even that superhuman effort isn't enough. The Bulls still lose. Some coaches and analysts mutter that Jordan is a one-man show, a ball hog who pads his stats but doesn't make his teammates better. He'll never win a championship playing like that, becomes a common refrain among skeptics. In barbershops and newspaper columns, the debates rage: is this spectacular young black athlete just a sideshow or the next all-time great? Old school fans cling to their heroes, Magic's smile and leadership, Bird's toughness and team play, and insist that Jordan isn't in their league. Not yet. He's a scoring champ, sure, but in the 1980s NBA, champions wear rings, not scoring titles. Even some fellow players are slow to embrace him. At the 1985 All-Star Game, a rumor swirls that a clique of veteran stars deliberately froze out the rookie Jordan, refusing to pass him the ball as a locker room lesson in humility. Whether true or not, it reflects a sentiment among some peers that this upstart needs to be put in his place. Michael hears all of it. He stores every slight in that mental vault where he keeps his fuel, and he answers the only way he knows how on the court. Night after night, he torches whoever is in front of him. He wins his first MVP award in 1988 and even adds a Defensive Player of the Year trophy that same season, proving he's not just an offensive marvel, but a relentless force on defense too. By the end of the decade, he's widely regarded as the most talented player on the planet. Yet one achievement eludes him, the only one that truly matters to the naysayers, an NBA championship. Year after year, Michael carries the Bulls into the playoffs, and year after year, they fall short. Each spring's failure is another jab from the critics. See, he can't get it done when it counts. In 1989, Michael offers a tantalizing glimpse of the clutch hero he will become in a first round due, or die Game 5 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He hangs in the air and hits a buzzer, beating jumper over Craig Elo's outstretched hands to win the series. That instantly iconic play becomes known simply as the shot. Yet even that moment of magic is followed by disappointment. In the next round, the Bulls are once again eliminated by Detroit. By the end of the 1980s, Jordan has been in the league 5 seasons with no finals appearances to show for it. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, by contrast, have multiple championships apiece. In the eyes of many, Michael is an incredible solo act, but not yet the leader of a great team. The pressure on him mounts with each passing year. He's won scoring titles, MVPs, and the adoration of fans, but he knows as well as anyone that, until he hoists the Larry O'Brien Trophy, the whispers will not stop. And the biggest roadblock on that journey has just emerged in full force, a team that seems designed in a lab to stop Michael Jordan at any cost. The Detroit Pistons, a team as hard-nosed and unforgiving as the industrial city they hail from. They play in a place called the Palace, but their style is more alley fight than ballroom dance. By the late 1980s, the Bad Boys Pistons have risen as a powerhouse in the Eastern Conference, and they've zeroed in on Michael Jordan as the one man standing between them and NBA dominance. Their strategy is as simple as it is brutal: stop Jordan at all costs. Pistons coach Chuck Daly implements a notorious set of tactics that come to be known as the Jordan rules. In plain terms, it means whenever Michael is on the court, he gets hit and hit hard. If he drives to the basket, the Pistons will shove him out of the air. If he cuts through the lane, he'll be met with elbows and forearms. No layup goes unchallenged, no dunk uncontested. They throw multiple defenders at him, trap him, grab his jersey, knock him to the floor, whatever it takes to make him think twice, to wear him down. It's more than just physical, it's psychological warfare. The Pistons, led by their fiery leader Isaiah Thomas, and enforcers like Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn, and Dennis Rodman, want to break Michael's spirit. They sneer when he soars for a dunk, and then pick him up off the hardwood after a hard fall with smug grins, as if to say, not this time. They know he's the NBA's golden child, the highlight hero, and they relish the role of villain. Game after game, playoff series after playoff series, Detroit punishes Jordan and the Bulls. In 1988, they meet in the postseason for the first time, and the Pistons batter Chicago into submission. In 1989, they meet again in a grueling Eastern Conference Finals. Michael pushes the series to 6 games almost by sheer will, but Detroit ultimately prevails en route to a championship. By 1990, it's the third straight year of this saga, another Eastern Conference Finals showdown. This time it goes to a Game 7 in Detroit. Michael is exhausted from carrying his team and from being hit by swarming defenders at every turn. The Pistons smell blood. They hound him relentlessly, forcing missed shots, forcing turnovers. The Bulls are routed in that decisive game, and for the third year in a row, Michael Jordan walks off the court with his championship dreams in tatters. For Michael, these defeats are devastating. He's now the league's MVP, a global superstar, and he's playing some of the best basketball anyone has ever seen, but it's not enough. Each time, this one team, this wall of muscle and menace, stops him short of the finals. After the 1990 loss, Michael sits in the locker room, still in uniform long after the buzzer, a towel over his head. His shoulders slump under the weight of disappointment, and the bruises blossoming across his body. The Pistons have made him pay a heavy price physically and mentally. They have tested the limits of his endurance and patience. And they have exposed a painful truth for all of Michael Jordan's brilliance. He cannot climb the mountain alone, not against a team like this. Something has to change, he has to change, or he will remain forever on the outside looking in at the NBA's summit. All the punishment and heartbreak forged something new in Michael. In the summer of 1990, after that third straight playoff defeat to Detroit, he becomes almost monastic in his devotion to improvement. By now, the Bulls have a new coach, Phil Jackson, who has been urging Michael to trust his teammates more and execute a unified game plan rather than shoulder every burden alone. Jackson's implementation of the triangle, offense, a system predicated on ball movement and team balance, is finally sinking in. Michael, desperate to conquer Detroit, accepts that he needs to elevate his team, not just himself. Armed with that mindset, he sets to work. At 27 years old, he is in his physical prime, but mentally he has been pushed to the brink. The pressure to finally break through is immense. Fans, media, even his own coaches, everyone is looking to him to deliver a championship. And each failure makes the spotlight hotter. Michael responds the only way he knows, by withdrawing deeper into his work. He has always been singularly focused, but now he elevates it to a near obsessive level. He spends long hours alone in the gym replaying the Pistons' beatdowns in his mind as he shoots jumper after jumper. He pushes himself in every drill as if Detroit's defenders are in front of him. He starts working with a personal trainer, determined to fortify his body and mind against the onslaught he knows will come again. Often at night, he sits alone in a darkened film room, replaying footage of the Pistons pummeling him, studying every trap, every cheap shot, his jaw clenched in determination. It's during these lonely hours in the weight room, on the track, in front of the projector, that a transformation begins. Michael barely socializes that off-season. While other players might relax on vacation, he lives in the weight room and on the practice court. Some days, he's in the facility before dawn, lifting weights when the arena is still dark, just a single work light illuminating the bench where he's grinding through presses. In those moments, he is utterly alone, just the sound of his own breathing and the clank of iron echoing in the empty gym. He has walled himself off from distraction and doubt. Inside that self-imposed isolation, he channels every ounce of frustration into fuel. He's not just training his body, he's training his mind to endure and to trust. He knows now that he can't do it alone. The Pistons proved that. So he begins to invest more faith in his teammates. He challenges them viciously in practice, yes, but he also encourages them to be stronger, smarter, tougher. He pushes them in practice so hard that sometimes tempers flare. On one occasion years later, he even punches teammate Steve Kerr during a heated scrimmage, an incident that quickly turns into mutual respect after apologies. If he can elevate himself, he can elevate them too. This is a hard shift for Michael. The lone warrior must learn to lead an army. It requires patience he's not used to exercising. But he works at it, just as he works on his fadeaway jumper or his conditioning drills. Every day of that summer ends the same way, Michael exhausted, drenched in sweat, but a little bit stronger than the day before. He's added muscle to his frame, about 15 pounds of pure strength, and with it a new confidence that he can absorb whatever punishment comes. More importantly, something in his mindset has evolved. The Michael Jordan who shows up to training camp in the fall of 1990 is a man on a mission with a singular goal. He has taken the pain of those Pistons losses and forged it into resolve. He stands apart now not just in talent, but in tenacity and focus. Teammates notice that he's different, more vocal, more demanding, but also more understanding that he needs them. Under Coach Jackson's guidance, he truly buys into the team concept. The isolation of the summer has given birth to a leader. And as the 1990-91 season dawns, that leader is prepared to storm the gates of the basketball world with a ferocity no one has seen before. That season, everything comes together. The 1990-91 Chicago Bulls storm through the league with a new toughness and unity. Michael is playing the best basketball of his life, not just scoring at will, but trusting his teammates and making everyone around him better. Scottie Pippen, the shy young forward Chicago, drafted in 1987, blossoms into an all-star sidekick. Horace Grant prowls the paint with muscle and tenacity. John Paxson waits on the perimeter to knock down open jumpers when Michael draws defenders. The team is transformed, and their confidence soars. They plow through the early rounds of the playoffs and find themselves, at long last, face face with the Detroit Pistons in the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals. This time, there are no nerves, no fear. The Bulls don't just beat the Pistons, they dominate them. In Game 4, with Chicago on the verge of a series sweep, Michael and his teammates execute to perfection, breaking Detroit's will. As the final seconds tick away in that game, the Pistons, those bullies who had haunted Michael for years, do something almost unimaginable. They walk off the court early, not even shaking hands, unable to bear the sting of their own defeat. It's a bitter gesture, an unsportsmanlike exit, but it doesn't matter. Michael Jordan has slain his dragon. The roadblock is gone. At last, he will play for an NBA championship, June 1991. The Chicago Bulls meet the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals. It's the matchup the basketball world has been waiting for. Michael Jordan versus Magic Johnson, the heir apparent against the established king. Magic is a 5-time champion and one of the game's great winners. He's the face of the 1980s NBA. Michael, for all his accolades, is on this stage for the first time. Game 1 in Chicago is a wake-up call. Magic's Lakers steal a win on the Bulls' home floor. But Michael refuses to let doubt creep in. In the locker room, he rallies his team, urging them that they've come too far to falter now. In Game 2, he unleashes one of the most iconic sequences in finals history. Driving to the hoop, he takes off for a dunk. Then in mid-air, with a defender looming, he switches the ball from his right hand to his left and gently lays it in. It's a move of sheer audacity and body control, and it brings the crowd to its feet in astonishment. Even Magic Johnson can only shake his head and smile at the display. That play becomes the symbol of the series. Michael is not just ready to win, he's ready to do it with style and dominance. The Bulls seize the momentum and never look back. They win games 2, 3, and 4 convincingly. Now, on June 12, 1991, in Game 5 at the Great Western Forum in Los Angeles, Michael Jordan stands on the brink of the ultimate triumph. The game is tight, but in the closing moments, Michael makes sure it's Chicago that pulls ahead. When the buzzer sounds, the scoreboard reads Bulls 108, Lakers 101. Michael Jordan is an NBA champion at last. As pandemonium unfolds on the court, Michael searches for the ball. He wants to hold it as the reality sinks in. Within minutes, he's in the visitors' locker room, cradling the Larry O'Brien trophy, tears streaming down his face. The man who prides himself on being a master of his emotions can't hold back. He cries openly, hugging that big, shiny trophy as if it's a long-lost friend. I've been waiting 7 years for this, and I thank God for blessing us to make it possible. Jordan says between sobs. He collapses into a squat in one corner, trophy in arms, his father James at his side, both of them smiling through tears. His father, overwhelmed, would call this moment the mountaintop, later admitting he had never seen his son so emotional. The image is captured for posterity. Michael Jordan weeping tears of joy, the burden finally lifted from his shoulders. The kid who had once been deemed not good enough to make his high school varsity team is now undeniably a world champion. In one cathartic night, Michael Jordan validated every hour of work and every ounce of faith he had in himself and silenced every last critic. Michael Jordan is not done. One championship is not enough. In fact, winning that first title unlocks an even greater level of determination in him. The very next season, 1991-92, the Bulls march back to the NBA Finals. Michael picks up right where he left off. This time the challenger is the Portland Trail Blazers. And the media, hungry for storylines, bill it as Michael versus Clyde Drexler, two high, flying shooting guards, the two best players at their position. Some even suggest Drexler might be on Michael's level. Jordan takes that personally, as he does every perceived slight. In Game 1 of the 1992 Finals, he delivers an emphatic rebuttal. He catches fire from three-point range, a shot not even considered his forte, and hits 6 three-pointers in the first half alone, an NBA Finals record. After the sixth one splashes in, Michael turns toward the TV broadcast table and gives a now famous shrug, palms up, as if to say, "I don't even know how I'm doing this." The home crowd in Chicago goes wild. His teammates feed off his confidence and swagger. The Bulls defeat Portland in 6 games, earning Michael his second championship and second Finals MVP. Any doubt that he is on a trajectory to all-time greatness has vanished. He's no longer just trying to get into the club of champions, he's kicking the door down. The narrative around Michael changes from if he can win to how many he will win. By 1993, the Michael Jordan juggernaut shows no signs of slowing. The Bulls power their way to a third straight finals, this time against the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix has the league's MVP, Charles Barkley, a close friend of Michael's, and elite player in his own right. But when the series begins, it's clear there is only one true MVP. Michael is a man possessed. He scores at will, averaging an astonishing 41 points per game in the finals, an NBA record. In one game, he drops 55 points, leaving the Suns helpless to stop him. Still, Phoenix pushes Chicago to a Game 6. It's a tight contest that comes down to the final seconds. This is the kind of moment where Michael usually takes over, but this time, he makes the smart play that surprises everyone. With the Suns' defense collapsing on him, he trusts his teammate. He kicks the ball out to John Paxson, who is wide open at the three-point line. Paxson lets it fly bang. The three goes in with seconds remaining. The Bulls win the game and clinch their third title in 3 years. A three-peat, something no team had accomplished since the Boston Celtics of the 1960s. Michael Jordan stands at the pinnacle of the sport again. He's earned 3 Finals MVPs, 3 consecutive scoring titles, and has become the unquestioned monarch of basketball. At that moment, Michael is more than just a player, he's a global icon of winning. The Bulls' dominance has made them legends, and Jordan is their shining leader. He has silenced every critic, answered every challenge. The whispers that once questioned his style or toughness are long gone, buried under a mountain of championship hardware. Opponents now speak of him with a mix of awe and resignation. They know that as long as Michael Jordan wears a Bulls jersey, any title hopes they have are slim. He has reached a rarefied air occupied by names like Bill Russell. By the early 90s, Jordan's fame reaches stratospheric heights. He isn't just the face of the NBA, he's arguably the most famous athlete on the planet. In the summer of 1992, between his second and third titles, he headlines the U.S. Olympic Dream Team, a collection of NBA superstars sent to Barcelona to showcase American basketball to the world. The spectacle is unlike anything sports has ever seen. Wherever the Dream Team goes, throngs of fans gather, chanting, "Michael, Michael," as if a rock star or a Beatle has arrived. In packed arenas across Europe, opposing players who grew up watching Jordan on TV now find themselves on the court with him, and many are so awestruck that after games they line up to ask for his autograph or a photo. The Dream Team cruises to the gold medal, winning by enormous margins, and Michael, with his soaring dunks and charismatic smile, is the unofficial ambassador of the entire spectacle. The whole world gets a glimpse of American basketball dominance, and the personification of that dominance is Michael Jordan. By the early 90s, Jordan's likeness is everywhere: billboards, commercials, Wheaties boxes. He becomes a crossover star beyond basketball, hosting Saturday Night Live, starring in a Hollywood film alongside cartoon icons, and his Fay 23 Bulls jersey sells from Chicago to China. Be Like Mike isn't just an ad slogan, it's a cultural mantra. He has managed to achieve something rare: universal admiration that cuts across racial and cultural lines. He commands the respect of inner city playground kids, Wall Street executives, and even heads of state. In an era when few black public figures attain truly global celebrity beyond their domain, Michael Jordan does just that. He is cheered in every arena, revered on every playground. He's made the game of basketball a worldwide phenomenon. But with that unparalleled fame comes intense pressure. Every game is an event, every move scrutinized. He can't walk through a hotel lobby without being mobbed by autograph seekers. On the road, security has to smuggle him through back entrances and kitchen corridors just to get him to the team bus. The media follows his every step, hungry for stories not just about his on-court heroics, but anything that can feed the public's insatiable curiosity about Michael Jordan. He lives under a microscope, and it's both a testament to his greatness and a burden that few could imagine. Still, as long as he's winning, Michael bears it with a public smile. He knows it's the price of immortality in the modern age. And so far, the price has been worth it. But the true cost of being Michael Jordan the sacrifice is hidden behind the endorsements and trophies, is about to hit home in the most painful way possible. July 23, 1993. In the midst of Michael's golden glory, an unspeakable tragedy strikes. His father, James Jordan Steer, is driving home from a funeral on a highway in North Carolina when he pulls over to rest. In a random, heinous act of violence, 2 young men approach his car, shoot him, and steal the vehicle. James Jordan's body is found in a creek over a week later. The news rocks Michael's world to its core. This was the man who guided him, who was often by Michael's side during his greatest triumphs, the father who embraced him as he cried over that first championship trophy. Now he's gone, taken in an act of senseless brutality. Michael is devastated. Those close to him say it's the only time they've ever seen the indomitable Michael Jordan completely broken. In the wake of his father's murder, Michael finds himself questioning everything. For years, basketball was his sanctuary and his identity. But now, stepping onto the court without seeing his father's familiar face in the crowd feels hollow and unbearable. And it isn't just the loss of his father weighing on him. The truth is, by 1993, Michael is exhausted. The relentless pressure, the media scrutiny, it has been chipping away at him. That year, stories swirl about Michael's late, night gambling habits, painting him in a controversial light and hounding him even during the Bulls' playoff run. The man who could do no wrong in the public eye suddenly faces criticism in the tabloids. He feels hounded, misunderstood, trapped in a global fishbowl. With his father's death, the joy he once found in the game evaporates. The toll of carrying a league, a team, and the weight of his personal grief has left him empty. In chasing basketball immortality, he has sacrificed the normalcy of everyday life, time with family, the simple freedoms of anonymity, all traded for greatness. So in October 1993, at age 30, still in his prime and fresh off a third straight championship, Michael Jordan stuns the world by walking away. He steps up to a podium in a packed press room and, voice steady but low, announces his retirement from basketball. In front of flashing cameras and bewildered reporters, he explains that he no longer has the desire to play, that he's achieved everything he could in basketball. What he doesn't explicitly say is that his soul is weary. Fans and media struggle to comprehend the decision. Some speculate wildly about hidden reasons. But the simple truth is that Michael has given all he has and needs time to heal. It is perhaps his most vulnerable act. Michael chooses to step back and try to live a life out of the spotlight. He pursues one of his father's old dreams, a foray into professional baseball, seeking solace on the quiet outfields, far away from slam dunks and flashbulbs. For a time, Michael finds peace in that simpler life. He signs with a minor league baseball team, the Birmingham Barons, and swaps his I-23 basketball jersey for a Fen 45 baseball uniform. He rides the team bus to small towns in Alabama and the Midwest, taking long overnight trips to play in front of just a few thousand spectators. He struggles at times as just another aspiring ball player, batting against curveballs and fastballs, enduring the humbling learning curve of a new sport. But he enjoys the anonymity and the challenge. In minor league ballparks, he's just Mike, the outfielder. He can stand in the outfield grass on a summer evening with only the murmur of the crowd and the chirp of crickets. Far from the spotlight and the pressure, and in many ways, it's a welcome breath of normal life. But the competitive fire in him never dies. By early 1995, after 17 months away from the NBA, that fire draws him back to the sport he once loved. With 2 simple words, "I'm back," Michael announces his return to basketball. He rejoins the Bulls in March 1995, late in the season. He even dons the number 45 jersey at first, a nod to his father and his baseball chapter, before eventually reclaiming Fate 23. Not surprisingly, he's rusty, the feel for the game isn't fully there yet. The Bulls fall short in the 1995 playoffs, losing in the second round. Some whisper that maybe the magic is gone, that at 32 years old Michael won't be the same player. Michael Jordan, however, has one more reinvention up his sleeve. He trains furiously in the off-season, honing his body back into basketball shape and sharpening his skills. The 1995-96 Bulls emerge as a team on a mission, bolstered by new teammates, notably the former Pistons' bad boy Dennis Rodman, and fueled by Michael's undiminished will. They steamroll the league, finishing with a 72-10 regular season record, the best in NBA history to that point. Michael leads them back to the NBA Finals, determined to reclaim the throne. The opponent is the Seattle Supersonics, but for Michael the battle is as much internal, proving to himself and the world that he can rise again. On Father's Day 1996 in Chicago, Game 6 of the Finals, the Bulls close out the Sonics to win the championship. The moment the game ends, emotions that have been locked inside Michael for 3 long years come flooding out. He clutches the game ball and collapses on the locker room floor, sobbing uncontrollably, his shoulders heaving. It's an eerie echo of that scene in 1991, but this time, James Jordan isn't there to share the joy. Michael's teammates stand quietly as he cries, respecting the deeply personal moment. He has his 4th championship, but this one is different. It's tinged with sorrow and catharsis. This is for his father, for his family, for himself. As he lies on that locker room carpet, cradling the ball, the sounds of celebration dim outside, and, for a moment, it's just a son mourning and honoring his lost father in the most fitting way he can, by winning. The Bulls would go on to win another 3, Pete in 1996, 1997, and 1998, solidifying Michael's place in history with 6 championships. Along the way, he continued to add to his legend. In the 1997 Finals, battling severe flu symptoms, Michael poured in 38 points in a pivotal Game 5 win over Utah. Pale and dehydrated, he somehow hit a crucial 3-pointer in the final minute to secure the victory, then practically collapsed into teammate Scottie Pippen's arms as the buzzer sounded. The gritty performance became known as the famous flu game, a testament that even fever and exhaustion could not stop Michael Jordan when a championship was on the line. By the end of 1998, he had twice retired as a champion, his legacy secure. June 14, 1998, Salt Lake City, Utah. The Bulls are on the road in Game 6 of the NBA Finals against the Utah Jazz, 1 win away from completing their second three-peat. The Jazz cling to a 1-point lead with less than a minute remaining. Michael, now 35 but still in peak form, summons every ounce of energy for one final push. He drives into the lane and scores a layup to tie the game, then sprints back on defense. As Utah brings the ball up, Michael sees an opening. He sneaks behind Karl Malone in the low post and, with quick hands, steals the ball. The Bulls don't call a timeout. They don't want the Jazz to set their defense. Michael dribbles up court, eyes on the clock. Guarding him is Brian Russell, a tough defender with fresh legs. Michael veers to the right wing, then crosses over to his left, a hard, vicious crossover dribble. Russell loses his footing, stumbling to the floor for a split second. Michael Jordan pulls up at the top of the key. With 5 seconds left, he elevates and releases a 20-foot jumper. For a heartbeat, time seems to freeze as he holds his pose, his right arm extended in follow, through his form picture, perfect. The ball arcs through the air. Swish. The Bulls take a 1-point lead with 5.2 seconds remaining, 87-86. It's his 45th point of the game, none more important than that shot. The Utah crowd is stunned into silence. On the sideline, Bulls coach Phil Jackson raises both arms in triumph. Back in Chicago, fans watching on TV leap out of their chairs in jubilation. When the final horn sounds moments later after Utah's last shot misses, the Bulls have won their 6th championship. Michael Jordan ends his Chicago Bulls career with one of the most iconic sequences in sports history. That final shot, struck in cold blood under the brightest lights, instantly becomes legend. It's the perfect culmination, championship number 6, delivered by Michael's heroics in the final seconds. By the time he walks off the court, holding 6 fingers aloft to signify 6 titles, his legacy as the greatest to ever play is practically written in stone. He retired for a second time after that 1998 Finals triumph, walking away as a champion once more. His legacy was secure. Today, decades after he first stepped onto an NBA court, Michael Jordan's legacy stands unparalleled. 6 NBA championships, 6 Finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, 9 all defensive first-team honors. The resume reads like a list of unattainable feats. But numbers tell only part of the story. To millions around the world, Michael Jordan represents the pinnacle of competitive excellence. His name has become a byword for greatness itself, the Jewitt, the greatest of all time. His 6 championships and 6 finals appearances without a single loss in the title round remain an unmatched feat in modern basketball. Even as the years pass, the legend of Jordan only grows. Young players who never saw him live still speak of him in reverent tones, trying to channel his mindset and chase the standard he set. In 2009, Michael stood at the podium for his Hall of Fame induction, reflecting on his journey, and even then, he reminded everyone of the slights that had motivated him, proving that his competitive fire never truly dimmed. To some, Michael Jordan represented racial progress. To others, he was a global hero who transcended sports. To Michael, he was just being himself, an individual obsessed with victory. He craved the challenge, the battle, the breakthrough. He didn't see himself as a voice for social causes during his career. He let his dominance do the talking. And in doing so, he carried the burden that historically often fell on black athletes to be more than just a player, to be a symbol. Michael chose to be a symbol of excellence. He believed in the power of the individual, of doing things his own way, and ultimately, that path made him a pioneer. Perhaps the most enduring part of Michael's legacy is not just the records he set or the championships he won, but the way he made people feel. He inspired a generation to dream bigger, to work harder, to push beyond what others said was possible. He showed that a kid from a small southern town, a kid who endured racism, rejection, and pain could rise up and transcend all of it through sheer will and talent. He showed how to stare down pressure and refuse to break. In doing so, he became more than just a basketball player. He became an icon of perseverance and excellence across the world. They once laughed at that young black boy who dared to think he could be great. They doubted him, dismissed him, tried to knock him down. But Michael Jordan got the last word. He didn't just become great, he defined greatness. He turned every insult into inspiration, every setback into strength. And by the end of his journey, the laughter of his skeptics had long since been drowned out by the roar of adulation from fans worldwide. Outside the Chicago Bulls arena stands a statue of Michael frozen in mid-air, cast in bronze so that generations to come can see and remember. On its base, an inscription reads, "The best there ever was." The best there ever will be? Whether or not anyone ever surpasses his records, the truth is clear: Michael Jordan's legacy is immortal. The boy they laughed at became the man history will never forget. Even after hanging up his jersey for good, Michael's impact on the sport continued, from overseeing basketball operations to eventually becoming the first former player to own a majority stake in an NBA franchise. But no boardroom triumph could ever eclipse what he did on the court. His legend stands undiminished, inspiring every new generation that picks up a basketball, promising that with enough heart and work, they too might silence the doubters and redefine what's possible. Michael Jordan's story will live on, as enduring as the bronze statue that bears his image, a testament to the power of resilience, the thrill of striving for immortality, and the moment when a once dismissed dreamer became a legend for the ages.